It's 6 o'clock. We're going to open the
Yeah, I should.
meeting of the Planning Board. I have to announce that under MGL Chapter 30, Section 20, that we are recording this both on tape and on video. I need to ask if anyone else is recording this meeting. Hearing none, we will proceed. And our first item of business is the town manager, Denise Menard.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you for having me. I don't even have a copy of the agenda. I know what I'm here for. If I could just see how you said it. Discussion regarding use of town properties.
Yeah.
So, what I'm trying to do is lessen the bureaucracy that we have for, paper, a lot of paper going on. Licensing is a big, there's a lot of stuff, process and all of that. And one of the things that I found, and I brought one of the waivers that you all do, is this waiver of site plan review for things like use of the ball fields, which I had likened the ball fields to recreational fields, and having the library come to you all for a waiver of a use of a recreational field for what I considered a recreational use seems like something that we didn't really need to have that much. You all are volunteers. You don't have a lot of time to be doing this kind of stuff. And in the charter, it says that I am responsible for the town properties, use of the properties, maintenance of the properties. So I told Robin I really didn't see that it was necessary. Prior, you really didn't have somebody that had that defined responsibility. And certainly this was a great way to address that you don't end up with some crazy thing going on, like a carnival or something. So I am looking at the process for going forward, and we'll be requiring insurances and all of that kind of stuff. This year kind of has caught me short on the plan because I didn't know. I'm reacting to things because it's the first time of it. But certainly going forward, there will be a plan and there will be a way of doing it that will protect the town. Because at the end of the day, if the town isn't protected, it's my hide, it's reflective of me. So I think if you all are okay with it, I can take that off your plate. What are your thoughts?
I have no problem with that, provided that the uses that you're allowing are consistent with the bylaw, okay? Center fields are industrial, which is the widest range of uses. The senior center is business, I think, or commercial, which is also a fairly broad use. Heritage Park is residential, and that's the only one that I think is that. And
So we won't have any carnivals there.
yeah, the carnivals have never come to us for any approval.
That's what,
Right.
that's
Right,
what, when we were
right.
going through, I was doing some what ifs with Robin, and I said, and what about the carnival? Who asked about and what about the Rotary, concerts? Who
Yeah.
asks about that? And everything is kind of all over the place. So that's kind of going to be my job, is to try to stop having it all over the place and
And
address.
that's great, because
Yeah.
you're the boss, and the people who are putting these things on, except for the school department, report to you in one way or another. So that way you have the control, and I don't personally have any problems with that. Again, provided that we don't do stuff that's really outside the bylaw. And
Certainly, if there was anything that I thought might be, I would be passing it by
Right.
Robin.
Yeah.
And
Anything
if
that's
I
out of
may,
the-
Denise isn't talking about structural changes or anything like
Oh,
that.
gosh,
It's
Oh,
just-
yeah, no.
It's all use.
So all use, and typically, we probably see 1 in 10 of the uses that are made for that.
That was my
Right.
thought,
Yeah.
because when I gave examples, most of them hadn't been covered.
Yeah.
It's one department head asking another department head to get a waiver for, and,
Yeah, so I have no problem, I think the board has any problem with
I
that.
have no problem with it whatsoever.
you don't mind giving your work away.
Well, actually, it's a very few work, but I think you'll cover it more properly because we're only given what's presented before us, but you're now having the
I'm
option to cover it
seeing
all.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be done
Yeah.
better.
Cool.
More better.
More better.
There was a word in between that.
Can I
left
quote
out.
you on that?
Don't worry,
So
it's
you'll,
recorded.
you'll create a list of approved uses, so to speak, and that'll, and if it's on that list, then it's approved use.
It will be that kind of a, yeah. I think Robin probably can vouch for my organizational, you know, I like to have things spelled out. Black and white is so much easier to just answer questions about than that gray stuff.
Yeah.
So I do have a question, and hopefully I won't be stoned by anyone in town.
Oh, dear.
raising this issue. So the Rotary, the property within the Rotary,
Uh-huh,
and the town hall property along the Rotary.
right.
So you would have responsibility if people wanted to beg for people to go to car washes or to collect money
Yeah.
for athletic teams.
If I saw them, but if they came my way. In fact, I came through town on a Saturday and saw somebody with a sign that was advocating for something that I thought, well, I know that should be where you're standing.
Right.
For a couple
Right.
of reasons. For one, it's town property, and for two, you could get killed there.
Yeah.
You know, it's just
A lot of
not.
the stuff that goes through is innocent. They're
Yeah,
not
they-
in realization of the bylaws and of the use
The
restrictions or
police
allowances.
try and step in with anybody on
Right.
the
Yeah.
Rotary, though. It's-
Yes.
It's a dangerous spot for them to be.
It is.
But I know
advocating, and
the
you don't want
young
to distract
women
people.
in there, yeah.
Well,
Car
all of
wash.
the high school athletic teams,
Oh,
and it's a real public safety hazard. I
So-
know it's kind of some tradition.
So that's something I should be looking forward to in the fall?
Yes,
But we
Oh, yeah.
also
Absolutely.
do allow it with our fire department, and I think it's a great fundraiser.
with the boot,
Oh, they do the,
Right,
It
with
the
doesn't
boot.
make it any
Mhm.
safer though.
Yeah.
no, you're right.
But-
Yeah,
And it's one thing to have adults out there doing it, another thing to have
Correct,
kids.
16-year-olds
jumping around
versus
and,
Yeah.
yeah.
40.
You got all the,
yeah.
everyone that runs for offices out there too.
Well, yeah.
That's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
We don't have to worry about that anymore.
But as far as you taking
No,
over,
not much.
have
Yeah,
at
okay.
it.
Yeah.
State senators, maybe things like that.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay, thank you.
well, good luck. It looks like you have quite a pipe.
Yes, we do.
Thank you, Denise.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, you too.
Next order of business is a public hearing on a site plan review for the East Long Meadow Wellness Center. Did Luke say he couldn't get a job?
No, you did not. Hi.
How are
Good
ya?
evening.
Hi, everybody.
Hey.
I'm Kim Maswick. Hello, at least you remember me. We were here before.
Can I read this?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you have.
Yeah, 1 second, yeah, if you don't mind.
Excuse me.
Oh, can we have more? Okay.
Oh, yeah,
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you, Robin.
lots of stuff.
The East Long Meadow Planning Board will hold a public hearing on July 18th, 2017 at 6 o'clock in the school committee conference room at the high school, 180 Maple Street, East Long Meadow, Mass. On a request to modify the previous approved site plan submitted by Dr. Kevin Coughlin for an 18,000 square foot medical office building located at 250 North Main Street. Information related to this application is on file with the planning board and available for review by the public. The next item is, I have a letter here from the fire department, Chief Paul Morset. The fire department is okay with the most recent changes to the entrance and exit flow for 250 North Main Street. I have a letter here from, let's see, oh, okay. Please regard your comments. Oh, hi, Robin.
Hi, Ty. Oh, this is Jeff. Okay, the highlighted part,
Okay.
and this is what he wanted me to follow up on right down here, the distances, so.
Okay, so you want me to read this and then read this?
No, let me see, this is. Exit driving. Read this first.
Okay. 250 North Main Street, exit only driveway closed to entrance exit to Premier Source CU property.
Right, and this is the new,
Okay. Hi, Robin. Kim asked me to respond to your question as I am in the CAD file. There is about 83 feet from the 2-foot curb return at our exit drive to the 2-foot curb return to the Premier Source driveway. For reference, the exit drive is 27 feet north of the southeastern property corner.
okay, and then he went here.
This is an interesting letter,
Yes,
or at least format.
that's from.
Robin,
the
thank you
police chief.
for following up on our distances between the driveways. I am good, Jeff. Jeff is good.
Okay. So police and fire are both, that's okay. So tell us what you're doing that's
I
different.
read all these.
Okay, so originally this was all permitted,
Oh,
first
wait,
of all.
we have one more, I think,
Oh,
yeah,
you
sorry.
do?
It's DPW.
Okay, this is from Robert Parent, DPW. This memorandum serves to confirm our discussion regarding water and sewer connection fees for the proposed development at 250 North Main Street. Per fee policies adopted by the Board of Public Works in the April 2015, connection fees for developments other than single-family residence are established on an equivalent residential unit basis. For this analysis, Title V design flow estimates are used on the basis of establishing residential unit equivalency, with a residential unit defined as a 4-bedroom, single-family home having a design flow of 440 gallons per day. Note, actual water and sewer usage may vary from these values. The proposed development includes Bay State Dental with 2 dentists, which is 2 times 200 gallons per day. Springfield Pediatrics with 4 providers, which is 4 times 250 gallons per day. And 6,095 square feet of unoccupied space intended for a future occupancy similar to the pediatric space. Based on the unit flow per square foot of the Springfield pediatric space, 0.1591 gallons per day, the unoccupied space would generate an additional flow of 970 gallons per day. Therefore, the total estimate flow from the building fully occupied is 2,370 gallons per day, which is equivalent to 5.4 single-family homes. DPW records indicate that water and sewer connection fees were paid when a bank was to be constructed on the property in 1989. Therefore, we will credit 1 residential equivalency to the property and reduce the residential equivalency to 4.4, and the connection fee due for the proposed development will be 4.4 times $1,500, or $6,600 each for water and sewer. Please let me know if you have any questions or require any additional information. Note, payment of the connection fee is required before scheduling an inspection of the water and sewer lines.
Thanks. Okay, now we can start.
That's okay, yeah. So I'm Kim Maswick, I'm a civil engineer with Associated Builders, and we're the design build general contractors that are currently working on this project. I have Mike Nordstrom with me this evening, and he's actually one of the, with the potential partnership that is intended to own this when all is said and done, along with Kevin Coughlin, who's here tonight as well. So this originally was all permitted previously with Gary Weiner and Carlson and Schmidt. And we came back and did some value engineering when we started working with Kevin, and we had a few changes. We did come in here before with you informally just to discuss the building height and potentially changing the driveway entrances, so this is really just to go over what we actually did, which is what we discussed earlier. So this is Gary's site plan over here, and this is our proposed changes. So you can see that on the driveway entrance here, he had just 1 location for entrance and exit, and he had to really modify this to have some wide sweeps to make the fire truck turning radii work. And so when we all looked at it, we thought it would be really nice if we could get this at least an entrance here, exit here in this location, so that we were able to do that. We made a lot of, this is a lot safer. There's more sight distance to this because the crest of this hill is up in this direction here. So, and it kind of spreads out the congestion of the traffic for off-site traffic flow, and then for on-site traffic flow, you don't have every single person coming, in front of here where there's pedestrians crossing and whatnot. So it really streamlines it. You can go in and go down and around to the bottom, or you can come in and come up here, which is intended to be Bay State Dental up here, Springfield Pediatric Services down here, Pediatric Services of Springfield, I should say. I always get that backwards. So we did that. We were able to make the paving layout actually more efficient. We actually reduced the paving surfaces, just because you can see on this plan there was, a drive aisle with parking only on one side, and we shifted some of this parking up here, down here, so it's closer to where they're going to access the building. We did add interior blocks and means of egress which are required by the building code for these tenants. So there's an additional sidewalk and door here and here, And then we've got another one down here, over here, and over there. So we added sidewalks around those areas, and the doors for egress. So we did that. The number of parking spaces stayed the same. The intent of the drainage stayed the same. You know, this comes in and it just continually slopes all the way down and around. No work in the conservation area changed. We left this all the same. And then so the other thing that we changed was the actual building elevations. Do you have any other questions on here?
I do. So,
Okay.
this is between Forestier and the next office building, which I don't know what it's named. But how far is the, I don't know if it's the ingress or egress to the Forestier
Down
entrance?
this way, which
Yeah.
is the question that was asked on that. So the distance is 83 feet down to this driveway.
Well, there's a building between Forestier and,
The Premier
So
Source.
the next
credit-
one.
Yeah.
Credit union.
The credit union, that's to the credit union driveway, it's 83,
Okay, so Forestier would be even more.
even farther, right? Yep.
Thank you.
Okay. So then on the building elevations,
Yeah, so just to clarify on that though,
Sure.
the southerly curb cut is exit only and the northerly one is entrance only.
correct.
Okay.
And we added the do not enter signs, you know what I mean, in the appropriate locations so
Yeah.
that we're not gonna have traffic issues there.
Really good.
So I think that worked out.
This is the fire trucks.
Oh, that's for the fire, excuse me.
I like
Yeah,
to-
we provided a plan just showing the turning radius of the,
For the fire trucks.
Fire
coming
trucks.
from-
Possibly any green
Yep.
space issues or that's what green space.
yeah, I made it a lot easier
There's
for
an
emergency
fire
vehicles
trucks.
to go in.
Well, you don't know where it's gonna come from.
Well, the fire station is this way.
Yeah. Anyway,
Exactly.
okay, let's continue.
All right. Keep going. So this was the old elevation, this is the new elevation. Basically, we added, this was 30'6" in the back now. This is the back where it's like looks like 2-story. And in the back over here, it's 32'2". We changed the configuration so you don't have these pitches on here, basically doing value engineering and trying to hide screen the HVAC units and whatnot on the roof. So this is a parapet wall around this whole thing, so it appears, more like a flat roof, and they're tucked behind it. We did go through that height calculation with you. We made sure it was the average height, so in the front, up here, it's much shorter, in the back, it's taller. The average of everything with the site grade is 29'9". So we're below that 30-foot requirement. So we just, we changed a little bit, making it the flat appearance, which is similar to the other buildings that are surrounding it. And did some detailing of the brick and whatnot that was a little bit different than what you see on here, but pretty close. Just a little bit with the building height, and that was really dictated based on we needed the room for finished floor to fit all the structural, the steel and everything, and make it economical and do our value engineering. So that's pretty much what we have changed on here.
Russ, any questions?
Just, what's the color of the building gonna be?
It's brick.
Okay.
So there's
Consistent.
many colors of brick, but
Okay.
it's brick with, we've got like a precast concrete accents over here that are a light gray
Mhm.
that'll complement
But it's
that.
not gonna be purple.
No.
Well, you're showing.
It's red. I know, it's very misleading. It is, the rendering is much better. Let me see. There you go.
Okay.
How's that?
Oh, there you
Better?
go. Yeah, that's good. So.
Better when we use the rendering program than
So your traffic turnaround is the traffic circle?
you
Here.
can turn around, not for the fire trucks.
Right, yeah.
That makes a T-turn, but
Okay.
for other clients, yes.
Just looks like there would be a fair amount of potential collisions there, but, okay. Backing up, coming out this way or going out that way.
I think that the width, the
The
width.
It's a
Is
parking
sufficient?
lot,
Yeah.
yeah, it's all
Parking lot,
24
the
foot
width of
drive
the
aisles.
Sufficient.
parking lot
Yeah.
is standard, so.
I would
Okay.
agree.
All right. Thank you.
They are, it's 20-foot
Yeah.
spaces,
Oh,
24 foot aisles.
I actually like what you did with adding the parking spots to the north side.
Yeah, we were trying to kind of bring them close, on the building side,
Yep.
because that original plan had them on the opposite side where you have crossing, you're crossing traffic, so, yeah, we just added them down here. This one.
Diane, any?
So nothing has changed whatsoever, except for they added the extra entrance, and obviously you see a little bit of widening to accommodate the fire trucks, but the parking spaces, once again, are also the same.
Right, the utilities, we've done the final design with the utility companies, so those have shifted slightly. And we actually localize them so that there's only one interruption, one area in the street that you're disturbing, because they were all kind of scattered about. And the electrical company basically told us electrical has to be here, we didn't have much choice with that. So we finalized that, and then the drainage system really maintained the intent. When we changed this layout, we had to shuffle these basins a little bit, but we did give the revised calculations and everything to DPW, and they reviewed those. So,
And then the other change is the elevations.
yes, correct. Yep,
And your average, you said, was 29.8?
29 foot 9 inches.
25, just there.
Yeah.
You got it.
Well, we were conservative, like on this part that slopes here, we would just assume that that was down at the lower elevation, so that it's a conservative calculation.
And I understand the value side of that, the value engineering side of that, and the parapet walls and being able to hide all the mechanicals, it's.
I think it should look good.
And those little parapet walls are high enough to hide the HVAC equipment?
Yep, this is what you see.
Okay, so that's the scale.
Yep.
I have no problem with it. Open it up to the public. It's a public hearing. Does anyone have any comments? Any questions? Mr. Page, identify yourself.
It's hard to see from over here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Identify yourself, please.
Ralph Page, 306 Prospect Street. As far as the front of the building, it's now basically like a U driveway in the front of the building,
Yep.
and is that a one-way?
It's actually large enough to be two-way.
What is it, proposed as two-way or one-way?
We have it as two-way up to this point, where you
So
can.
you'd come in from, I'm just trying to.
You come in from here,
Yep,
you can either go down here, you can come back, you can go up here. If you came up here and you wanted to go down there for some reason, you could go down there, but you can't go past this point.
so that's an exit only.
Yes, exit only.
I mean, one of the things is if you parked here, you gotta be able to, if you wanna go down
And
back.
there's parking on both
Out
sides of
and
that,
come
correct?
Right.
So
So
you
you
need this
come in, you
to,
can park towards the roadside or towards the building?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep,
these arrows are indicating
yep.
how the fire truck might move.
Is
Well-
there gonna be
And it's
a
shown
sign
here
on the road that
because
says exit?
this is
only?
the
Well, there's
tightest
a-
turn.
There's a place,
Right.
it's the same for
There's-
But
everybody.
because you know
It's just
someone's gonna look
Oh, I
at
know.
that. and assume-
Distance for
Right,
the fire
so there's
truck.
do not
But
enter
the
signs
turns
on
and
both sides
everything
of
is
the
the
road,
same.
but we also talked about just putting address here. You know how sometimes they have like
This
a
is
lower sign that
basically
says
showing
enter,
fire
exit
trucks.
Yeah.
on there, just as another.
Obviously, it would be at the board's
Right,
decision.
right, but we do have that on there.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions from the public? Hearing none, I bring it back to the board. Does anyone have any additional comments or questions for the applicant?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the fire truck plan.
Yep.
Show me what the difference would be for the pedestrian, for the regular user, as far as entrances and exits. Right now, if I
It's
go
just right
by
here.
this plan, you've got, both entrances are one way.
This is one way in, this is one way out, right here. So there's do not enter signs here for these people that might come try to make that move. And there's do not enter signs here for anybody that would wanna go in this way.
I'm not a traffic engineer, so I don't know what's better, but how come it's one, each one is one way?
If you were to try and open this, you would definitely be increasing the amount of impervious surfaces, and it just seems as though if you have, we didn't wanna do that, we don't wanna increase impervious surfaces. And as far as when you line up this exit, it's hard to explain without seeing it, but we tried it, and it made this so wide, especially for the fire trucks, that it was like this wide. And then you had traffic, these people that were exiting would have to go way down here and make an S-bend and come back. So it didn't make sense to do that over here. It works much better for the fire truck turning radii and for the layout of this to keep this exit only, or entrance only and exit only. And it also shifts the parking, or the traffic congestion. It helps that where you don't have the in and out and everybody stopping and shuffling around, you're putting it into two separate points.
And you're showing it as one way in front of the building.
It's actually wide enough to be two-way.
The reason I ask is if I park in front of the building and then decide I need to actually be in back of the building, I would have to go out onto North Main Street, make a
No.
left in,
If we didn't put these,
Yeah.
if these are really just directional,
okay.
you know what I mean, they won't be painted on here.
Okay, so it will be two-way in front of the
Right,
building.
it's two-way.
Okay.
And if you want, we could put two-way arrows, that's not a
Well,
problem.
I just wanted to clarify because of the way it's
No.
marked.
Yep, yes, yep. No, that was, we were just trying to show the circulation.
Okay.
Yep, it's really gonna be two-way. It's wide enough, it's 24 feet with the 20-foot spaces.
Okay.
Yep.
Any other questions from the board? Hearing none, do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, any further discussion from the board? Do I have a motion?
I will make a motion to approve the site plan review for the Wellness Center, Dr. Coughlin's office, located at 350 North Main Street.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Thank you
good to
very
go.
much. Thank you.
Looks like you're making good progress out there.
It does, it looks good up there, yeah.
Hopefully we'll be back again with our site plan waivers for the tenants.
George, your special permits, you have dimensions, there's only four.
Yeah,
No longer, I know.
that's the special permits.
Surprise.
Okay. Next order of business at 6:15, we're a little bit late, is a public hearing for a special permit for Verizon Wireless at 24 North Main Street.
The planning board of the town of East Long Meadow will hold a public hearing on July 18th, 2017 at 6:15 in the school committee conference room at the high school, 180 Maple Street, East Long Meadow, Mass, on an application for a special permit submitted by Verizon Wireless to install antennas and related equipment for wireless services on the rooftop of Rocky's Ace Hardware, 24 North Main Street. Information related to this application is on file with the planning board and available for review by the public.
It's a police report. Yeah. Basically this.
So we don't do anything with this?
No, it's just,
I didn't know what that was. This report reviews a proposed roof plan change located at 24th North Main Street, East Long Meadow, Mass, Center Village, Rocky's Ace Hardware. The East Long Meadow Police Department sees no problem with the proposed addition to the two cellular towers to the roof line at 24 North Main Street. Any questions may be directed to my attention. Officer Strodom Stewart, number 4.
that's it.
That's it?
That's it.
Thank you.
Need to advise the applicant that we only have 4 members of the board tonight. So if we vote on this, it will have to be a unanimous vote in favor. You have the option to ask for continuation, if you so choose, until we get a full board.
Can I see how it's going?
Straw poll, huh?
Yeah.
I think I'll take my chances tonight. Thank you. So, good evening, I'm Ellen Fryman with Schwartz and Fenton in Springfield, represent Verizon Wireless, and with me is Jay Vittori, he's the radio frequency engineer with Verizon Wireless. And I have the plan, which you would have received. We try to avoid towers when we can, and when we can use existing structures, we can, or we do. And so this is in our search area where we need some improved coverage. And so we're just proposing 2 small antennas on the roof. People probably won't even know they're there. We're putting them up on lots of roof lines, utility poles, and they're much more attractive than the cell tower, so, and people, like I said, don't know they're there. So, and this will provide coverage in the
Yeah.
vicinity of the shops and environs of that area. So, Oh, sorry.
This area right here.
Where's on Main Street?
Here,
That's where I found it, so it's gonna be visible here.
so we visible from that Main Street.
What is the height?
Of the antennas,
Yes, please.
they're, it's on a different sheet. You have it, okay?
Yep.
Good evening, Jay Latore with Verizon. The top of the antenna is approximately 32 feet 7 inches. And to give you a comparison, the peak at the corner of that would be where Starbucks is. The top of that roof is 36 feet even.
Okay, so these are actually looking over the parking lot, they're not looking over North Main Street.
No, correct.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Trying to get oriented here in
Yeah.
terms of the building.
Point to
Right,
Starbucks in that plan if you would. Okay, gotcha.
Okay,
Yep.
All right.
okay.
I think
Yep.
that
So the
helps.
parking lot, okay. So the library can see.
So it's
Yeah.
over, like,
Above
near
where
where
white,
Wade's
AO
used to
White
be.
used to be.
Yeah.
area.
Yeah.
yeah.
And where is your auxiliary equipment for this going to be?
So everything for this small cell application is actually located on top of the rooftop.
Okay.
In this type of application, which Verizon calls a small cell application, we no longer have the need for a traditional cellular equipment shed that we may have, for example, like at our facility on top of the water tank in East Long Meadow. So our radio equipment is with our antennas, and we run 3 conduits, one for grounding, one for fiber communications, and one for power.
Okay. Questions, Jay?
I don't think so.
Deb?
Was it at all a possibility to put these structures on the north side and have them abutting the woods rather than residents? Is that a possibility at all or not for, I don't understand radio and area waves.
Sure.
So.
Well, anything could be possible. I can't speak to whether our landlord owns every single inch of that particular piece of property, so that would be one piece of it. But while anything is possible, it might not be as desirable because part of Verizon's effort to grow its existing network and to enhance its capacity requires that these very small applications be in an area where our demand is perceived to be the highest. So in that parking lot area, we have a number of businesses. We have Town Hall, we have the library, Sleepy's, the gyms. So this was a centralized location where we felt that we could be able to provide enhanced service to the entire parcel, some of the businesses across the street, over on the other side of the rotary as far up the hill as we have line of sight. So it lent itself well to that.
Now, I understand there's also an antenna in the church steeple. Are you involved with that one? Are you on that one?
Church steeple. Is that, you mean the white church right
Yeah.
across?
Yeah.
No, we don't have a facility there. It may be another one of our competitors that has one there. Our closest facilities, and it's included in the justification documentation, we're on the water tank, which is on Prospect Street. We are on the tower at Benton Drive. We have another facility back in Springfield on Paradigm Street. And we have another small cell type application across from the Stop and Shop Plaza on a utility pole that's owned by National Grid.
No, it's not.
Okay, open up to the public. Is anybody here from the public to speak to this?
Could we just flip it so we can?
Turn it around so they can see. This is gonna be above the stationery store there, basically.
Yep.
Yeah, this is Airways,
Yeah.
yeah.
This is Starbucks.
This would be
Okay.
Starbucks.
Verizon.
I think over here is maybe like where the day spot is and
Okay,
around that
so
area.
the total elevation is from, it isn't 32 feet on top of the
No,
building?
No.
It's
Most-
just, it's an antenna, it's not a pole.
Exactly, so, yeah, we're below the peak here. All of our ancillary equipment is below this roof line here, meant to hide it, so you only see these canisters, which are, about
And
3
this
feet
will
tall.
improve Wi-Fi service and.
It'll improve Verizon's 4G LTE network.
Good, I'm all for that.
Well, thank you.
Any other, Page?
Ralph Page. The only comment I have, as far as Verizon, I have no problems with the antennas, but I do have concern granting a special permit to a location that already has existing violations. I mean, we know for a fact that a lot of the parking spots and all over there have been covered with material. I drove by there less than an hour ago, and there's no less than 15 parking spots that are being taken up by pallets. How can we issue a new special permit to a location that already has violations? Thank you.
Okay, this is a different use, and we're issuing a special permit to Verizon, okay, not to the owner of the property. And they're the ones that are doing the use. If there are violations there, then they need to be brought to the attention of the zoning enforcement officer, and it's up to the zoning enforcement officer to take action as he or she sees fit. Any other questions or comments from the public? Hearing none, I'll bring it back to the board. Any other questions or comments here? Hearing none, do I have a motion to close? Wait, before I do that, are you happy with us closing the
Yes,
public
yes,
hearing? Okay.
Right.
So moved.
Second? Do you have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any further discussion? I mean, it looks like a good project to me.
Mhm.
It's not gonna be an eyesore, and it will improve quality of life by improving service, so. Do I have a motion to approve, what? To grant the special permit?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, you're good to go.
Great, thank you
And
so much.
what is your name again, sir? I'm sorry. Yeah.
Me, Jay Latore.
Latori,
Yeah,
Jay.
Latorre.
thank you.
Thank you. Sorry about that, I'm deaf in one ear, so
Yeah, that's
you'd be there,
Deaf in
I'm over there.
That's called selective
So you
hearing.
can't hear us.
Have a good night, thank you.
Okay, next order of business at 6:30 is a public hearing on Eversource Energy, and it's after 6:30. So, do you need to, you're securing it?
No, yeah, that's. This is the tough one. I'm getting out of the easy one.
I know,
This is the big one.
Yeah.
this is the solar project
Yeah.
on Denver.
The planning board of the town of East Long Meadow will hold a public hearing on July 18th, 2017 at 6:30 in the school committee conference room at the high school, 180 Maple Street, East Long Meadow, Mass. On an application for a site plan review submitted by Western Mass Electric, DBA Eversource Energy to install ground-mounted solar photovoltaic system 175 Denslow Road. Information related to this application is on file with the planning board, available for the public for review. Next, I have a letter here from Robert Parent, from DPW. The stormwater management facility for the proposed 6.475 megawatt solar photovoltaic project on Denslow Road as depicted on the plans, and there's a list of all the plans that we're going to see here tonight, prepared by Weston and Sampson dated May 4th, 2017, and the associated stormwater drainage report dated May 2017 are approved, subject to the following conditions. Number one, this approval does not supersede or replace the need for the applicant to obtain approval of the project from the East Long Meadow Planning Board and is contingent upon receipt of all necessary approvals from the Planning Board and other town agencies. Number two, the effective date of this permit shall coincide with the date of the Planning Board approval. A permit, when issued, will remain valid for 3 years. If the project is not completed within this time period, an extension or renewal will be required. Number three, any changes to the project design that result from the planning board review and approved process that would impact the generation, flow, detention, or treatment of stormwater should be submitted to the DPW for review and determination of whether or not an amended application is required. Number 4, the operations and maintenance plan contained in Exhibit Appendix H of the submittal shall be updated and reformatted as needed to comply with Section 5.3 of the DPW's rules and regulations so that the program can serve as an agreement suitable for extension in filing with the land records at the Registry of Deeds prior to issuance of a building permit. Please submit the updated document for review and approval by the DPW prior to filing. Number 5, a signed maintenance agreement for the stormwater controls once constructed shall be provided. Number 6, a performance guarantee in the form of a cash bond shall be provided prior to the issuance of a building permit to ensure completion of stormwater management facilities in accordance with the approved plans and permit conditions. The value of this bond shall be equal to the total estimate construction cost of stormwater management facilities. Number 7, 48 hours advance notice should be provided to the DPW prior to any of the facility inspection requirements by DPW rules and regulations. The town may assess the applicant the cost of these inspections. Number 8, additional test pits during construction are referenced on the plans in the stormwater management report. Copies of any additional test pits information shall be provided to the DPW within 30 days of completion, along with an engineer's evaluation of the impact of the additional information on the project design. Number 9, all work shall comply with the rules and regulations of the management of stormwater adopted by the Town of East Long Meadow Department of Public Works on January 23, 2012. This is a letter from Stephen Paul Wayne, Project Manager, Weston and Sampson Engineers.
Yes, sir.
Dear Ms. McDonald, as referenced in the pre-application meeting held on 4/21/2017, Weston and Sampson, on behalf of Eversource, formally request a waiver of zoning bylaw requirement for a traffic study, section 7.431. The proposed project for a ground-mounted photovoltaic system is one that generates a considerably low volume of traffic. After completion of construction, visits to the site will be mainly for routine maintenance checks and mowing. Maintenance check may be 1 or 2 times per month, and mowing activities will be 2 or 3 times per growing season. On behalf of Eversource, we appreciate the consideration by the planning board to acknowledge of this request of waiver. In the meantime, if you have any questions or require any additional information, please contact me at our Peabody office. The phone number is listed here, and there's also an email address. Very truly yours, Weston and Sampson Engineers, Inc. I have a letter here from Paul Morset, Fire Chief, Town of East Long Meadow. Robin, the fire department requires that the NFPA 1 Fire Code 2015, Chapter 18, Fire Department with the Massachusetts Fire Comprehensive Fire Code additions be followed. We would also require 2 pass-through gates in the fencing located at the southeast and southwest sections of the site. These gates should be locked with a knockbox padlock.
And this is the Conservation Commission, they found a negative determination.
Okay. So the Conservation Commission, WPA Form 2, determination of applicability. No further action under the Wetlands Protection Act is required by the applicant. However, if the department is required to issue or supersede determination of applicability, work may not proceed on this project unless the department fails to act on such request within 35 days of the date requested, postmarked or from certified mail or hand delivered to the department. Work may then proceed at owner's risk only upon notice of the department and the Conservation Commission. Requirements request for supersede determination are listed at the end of the document. The area described in the request is not in the area subject to protection under the act of the buffer zone.
Okay, so identify yourself again and tell us what you're going to be doing.
Chairman, here's my business card, Robin.
Thank you.
I'm Steve Wheel with Weston and Sampson Engineers, and I appreciate you going over all of that information.
Save you a lot of time.
We're here on behalf of Eversource and the owner of the parcels, who is not Eversource, but they're entering onto a long-term lease for this project. The application is for a site plan review pursuant to 7.5.2 of the zoning bylaws. Again, we first met in December, came back in April and had a pre-filing meeting, solicited comments from the department heads. We've included the plans, the narrative, the gate with the lockbox. I think we've addressed all of the comments in the last set of plans, including the A&R plan that was filed, to join the two lots together for, not in perpetuity, but at least for the length of this project until it's decommissioned. Eversource intends to construct, own, and operate the solar facility, also in accordance with the stormwater management permit that was issued. There'll be very little increase in stormwater impervious areas, but there is a stormwater management on the south side. Basically, the forested land will be converted to grasslands, and the grass will be there to maintain and prevent erosion and sediment from running off the site. We did file an RDA. We got that negative determination with the Conservation Commissions. We also filed with MESA, the Mass Historic Commission, and received no indication that they had any issues with these sites. The address is 0 and 175 Denslow Road. The parcels combined are 48 acres, more or less. The array that you see here within the footprint of the fenced area is represented at 24 acres. The actual orientation and configuration is left to the designer. In our transmittal letter, we said that the contractor who was going to be hired was yet to be determined. They have determined who that is now, and it's Conti Solar, and they'll be constructing it. They're responsible for finishing the design and filing the building permits. We'll probably help and assist in that regard because we have these plans on file. And they'll be filing with the building department, I've heard, is in a little as a week to 2 weeks time. They're going to optimize what's inside of the area that we've proposed to fence in. The fence is really for security and safety from a National Electric Code perspective. It'll be an 8-foot chain link fence. The project was designed to minimize any impacts to the existing wetlands and resource areas, so everything was set back within, the distances that were prescribed so that we didn't violate any of those concerns with the Wetlands Protection Act. More or less, the project is described as a 6.4 megawatt. It probably could be up to 7 megawatts on the DC side, but there's a limit with the ISO for 5 megawatts AC. There is a gas line that transects the property, so it's been designed to be south of that. And there'll be a pole line coming in off of Denslow Road to at least get across that before anything goes into the soil and disturbs that, so that we don't run into that gas line that's there. Again, all of the conditions of the O&M agreement, the plans are understood. And with that sort of explanation, I'd leave it up to questions from the board.
I just have a procedural question. So this is strictly to waive a need for a traffic study?
No, this is to to approve the site plan. Okay, we're being asked to approve the site plan.
Okay.
And part of that approval we're being asked to waive the traffic study. Okay. Any other questions?
Just how close is this to the athletic fields at Long Meadow?
So if you could judge by the scale on this is 300 feet here. So the project to the boundary is probably I'd say 4, just judging from that distance from here to here.
And did we request, or were they required to get any narrative from the town of Long Meadow?
The town of Long Meadow was notified as
Okay.
an abutter.
And you received
I
nothing from them?
received nothing.
Okay. And how many proposed ground units will you have?
So it's estimated, based on the layout that you see there, there's 19,045, and that's plus or minus. The actual modules that the contractor will buy, it's depending on market conditions, what's available. Like the rating on these panels are here shown as a 340 watt panel. They may find that they have 360 watt or 400 watt panels, and so the number and the count may change a little bit. It's represented to be 2 up in portrait with enough distance between these to minimize inter-row shading on the shortest day of the year, so that there's good solar resource and they get the best, bang for their buck.
Okay, in layman's terms.
Sure.
Yeah.
19,000
How many
panels.
concrete pads
So
There be.
they'll be installed on a pile system in all likelihood. This won't be a ballasted system. In fact, I think I heard from the contractor that most of their equipment pads that they'll have are all pre-engineered, precast. They'll come in by a truck and be dropped into place. And there may be as many as what you see represented here. Electrically, it depends on how they decide to do the final electrical design. To minimize the amount of copper wire runs that they have, they'll spread those out in a strategic way that they're being paid to design.
And in your application, you, if I could, Mr. Chair,
Yeah.
you said that it would be screened from the street. So what type of screening materials
Well,
will
so
you be using?
it'll be fenced with a chain link fence all the way around. And there are limits of clearing that are shown on here. I think that the 24 acres, that the footprint of the array within the fenced area, there's a little bit additional acres, 36 and a half total acres are cleared mostly up to the limits with the wetland setbacks and to the south and on the west side. There's nothing that has to be done on the north because the sun, is in the southern hemisphere here. But just to minimize the impact of the height of the trees here so that they don't cast a shadow in the morning and in the afternoon. And there'll be a buffer that's left behind, I think, from most of that. But it'll be a chain link fence around the array.
Thank you.
You answered a lot of my questions, thank you for being so
Sure.
thorough. I'm very familiar with the property, as I mountain bike got that.
No
so-
more.
Yes, no more maybe. So,
He's the one that tore the fence down.
I do like, because that it is so set back from the road, that it's not going to be as visible as you drive by the highway, Solar Field.
Yeah, I think it would be challenging to see it, frankly,
Yes.
from Denslow Road.
I agree with you.
Yeah. If you were on the ball fields looking across here, it's possible that you'd see the fence, but not entirely likely. You have a transmission easement that goes.
And that was due to the gas line, moving it back.
Yeah, the gas line is where my pencil is,
Right.
cutting across there, so everything is south of that.
And I think that's beneficial to the town that it
Sure.
did need to be moved back. How long is your lease for?
So I think it's a base of 20 years, with probably 2 5-year options would be my guess. I haven't seen the lease personally, but that's how I understand they're structured. With Denslow Road Associates, I think, or Denslow Road Investors out of, I think, New Jersey is where they're at.
Nothing further at this time.
Tied?
No, I think all my questions have been answered.
If I could just ask one more.
Sure.
What's the estimated value of the project?
So ballpark $10 million is what it would cost to build that, and all in for panels, racking, and electrical systems.
And does the Commonwealth of Massachusetts provide any, discount on taxes because of the solar array, or is it just taxed all as personal property?
So I
for the
think
community?
I think that it's subject to personal, commercial
Okay.
tax rates for the improvements that'll be on there. There are incentives, long-term, that have to do with the production of electricity from a renewable source. Project is being done to meet Eversource as a provider of electricity in the Commonwealth, has a renewable portfolio standard obligation to meet that grows by 1% a year, that has to be met by green renewable sources. So they built their first 8 megawatts. There were 2 in Springfield, Indian Orchard and Cottage Street landfill, and then another one in Pittsfield. And then they waited a while. They watched the market price come down for solar, and they felt that this was the right time to build based on, the economics of it. The price went from, say, $6 to $8 a watt back in 2009, and it's down to, between probably $1.50 and $2.50 a watt now. So they can justify economic conditions for building this, but they'll get a benefit in this form of a solar renewable energy certificate, probably for the first 10 years of its useful life when it generates electricity. And those will be sold, and then the electricity will go straight to the grid, to the distribution circuits on Denslow Road.
So where will you be tying into the grid, actually?
It'll be, you see that there's some pole line from the south side of the, everything will probably be underground up until they get to the gas line, then they've got to come up and go over to a pole line that'll connect to an existing pole line that's on Denslow Road. There's a
Okay.
three-phase circuit there that I think operates at about 13.8 kV.
Okay. So I know there are a number of really big power lines going through that area.
Yeah, those are transmission voltages. These are going to connect to what's considered distribution voltages.
Okay.
And the transformers are all a lot smaller just to get the voltage up to, what they call distribution level.
Okay.
That's 13.7 kV. These are anywhere from 40 to 113,000 volts. And
So this will actually be providing electricity locally?
it will, just based on the way atoms travel,
Yeah.
they get used instantaneously wherever there's a demand for them.
Yeah, okay. Who is the abutter on the south?
Um,
You go
The
straight
town
to
of
the-
Enfield, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
And I'm not sure, we submitted an abutters list, I think that the notice went
Their
out, but
notice, yes.
I don't remember their names or how many people from Enfield, or if there's anyone from Enfield here.
yeah.
But we do have a list, I just don't have it.
And we
in my-
sent it, yeah.
Okay. I mean, from our point of view, it's great because the panels will be facing south and therefore they will not have any impact on people in our town. We just don't know who owned the property south of there, and if they haven't said anything, then I guess they're okay with it.
Yeah, I think that there's gonna be a buffer left between, the scallop line here and the property line.
Okay.
Looks to be at least about 100 feet, and it's unlikely that they'd see them. They're pretty low to the ground.
Yeah.
The top of the panels are probably at maximum 8 feet, depending on how they orient them.
Okay, I have no further questions. I'll open up to the public at this point. Does anyone wish to comment or ask any questions? Sir, give me your name and address.
Is there Bob Silverstein Fields Drive? I'd just like to see a map where this is located.
Bob Silverstein, Fields Drive.
We didn't get one in the letter, I'm just,
He's not within 300.
my ears are good, but my eyes aren't.
George, easier maybe to give them this one.
It's always good to look at an aerial. This is Denslow Road.
There's no
So I'm not sure where you are in relation to, the property is the red outline. This is just an internal parcel line so that everything that you see on the outside is the subject parcel.
Buena Vida.
Is this
I'm saying that I can't fight
the
you.
school, the university, or is there some school there?
Yeah, I have to
Okay.
apologize, I'm not certain.
This is Shaker Road?
Shaker Road is a few blocks that way.
This is north?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Shaker Road is off this particular map.
Oh, north here. And Benton is here across?
Benton's here.
Okay. I'm confused. Okay, Wilson, oh, you're way down here. All right.
Yeah, the university is way down.
Near the
fields of Chestnut.
I thought this was gonna be up by Benton and William.
No, it's the Long Meadow, East Long Meadow line, right there.
The original notice in the paper had the address wrong. The second notice had it correct.
Okay,
Okay, originally, the first one said it was Benton Drive, but it's not Benton Drive, it's Denslow.
oh, okay.
So this is nowhere near Fields of Chestnut, okay, if that was your concern. Any other questions? Mr. Page?
Ralph Page. As far as where it touches Denslow Road, does the fence go all the way out to, 20 feet from the road?
It doesn't. The fence is set back probably, I would say 600 or 700 feet.
So if you look at this picture, it would be beyond
The
where
fence
that
line would be about here, south of this. This is the gas easement where my pencil is.
Yep.
And so the fence would start south of that.
And so are you just gonna have a roadway coming in, or are all those trees gonna be cleared out to Denslow?
These will not be cleared out. There's no need. Shading won't occur on the north side, so these will all be left in place. The limits of clearing are shown on this plan with the scallop lines. And it is 36.5 acres, so it's most of everything up to the wetlands setback line that you see down to here. And again, it's represented with this scallop line here. You see the limits of clearing.
Yep.
They stop on this side of the gas line, south of it, and then they'll pick up again over here and follow it down, to about within 100 feet of the south parcel line across.
And what's the height of the chain link fence that
8
you're going to be
feet.
installing?
It's
foot?
8 feet to meet the
And
National Electric Code.
Is it going to have slats in it, or is it going to be just an open chain link fence?
I think it's an open chain link fence.
And you did say that it could possibly be seen from the ball fields?
It's possible. We haven't done, anything to determine whether you
My
can see
only
it or not.
thought to the board would be, if it is visible, to ask them to put the slats in, so that way you can't see straight through them too. Like I said, I don't know if there'll be any glare or anything like that, but I know in the industrial garden park area, we asked for chain link fences to be opaque around, what do I want to say, storage units and stuff, so that would be my only thought. As far as leaving the trees on the road, I think that's great. It looks like it's not even going to be visible from that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the public or comments? Hearing none, I'll take it back to the board. I have two additional questions.
Sure.
One inspired by Mr. Page's first comment about where the fence is. I don't know if you've been out there, but right now, with nothing on the site, there is an issue with people using off-road vehicles through that area. It would be advisable, I think, to somehow or other gate the road somewhere near Denslow to try to, because you don't want them roaring around outside your fence. I mean, I know now they come from the other side of the lake, across the dam and up into that area. And with this being there, we really don't need to have that sort of activity going on.
Right.
So you might consider gating the road, at least at Denslow, and somehow or other trying to block access to the property from that direction.
Right. We do have a gate that's, again, I think south here. We didn't contemplate putting one up here, but Eversource could certainly consider that if that becomes an issue. And then they have the additional gate for the fire department requested the access to the south side.
Right. And will the site be alarmed in any way?
It won't be alarmed other than electronically. There's some telemetry that would tell the owners if there was something wrong with their system.
Okay.
They typically wouldn't put alarms or surveillance on anything unless it became a problem with vandalism. And so it's usually done in a stepped approach. If they don't put anything and there's no problems, there was never a need to put anything there.
Okay.
They do have some sites where they've had to put cameras up during construction to make sure nothing went missing and things like that.
Okay.
But they would take the right precautions, as warranted by the conditions out there.
And aside from the Conservation Commission, has an environmental assessment been done on the site? We're aware that the site has been used for dumping in the past, and it has been used as a pistol and rifle range at various times, not necessarily illegally or not necessarily by permission of the owner, but I know that those kinds of things have gone on back there.
Yeah, so I can't answer that because I'm not aware of it, but I would just turn to my colleagues at Burns McDonnell. They're program managers with Eversource, and they may be aware of something that I'm not, or.
I've not heard of anything like that.
So.
Okay. I mean, if you walk the site, you'll see trash and stuff that's been dumped there, and I have no idea of whether any of it is hazardous or not.
Right.
And I do know that there's a pile of dirt partway in that has been used as a backstop for a firing range. People go out, not to say firing range, people go out there and shoot their guns at it,
Right.
okay, informally. And so there's probably lead in that pile of dirt and elsewhere around back there.
Right.
So just to highlight that to you so you're aware
Sure.
of these things as you go to clear it, to make sure that we're not taking anything hazardous off the site,
Right.
okay?
Yeah, mostly from the contracts, and this isn't the only project, they have 60 some odd megawatts under construction at 12 to 14 different sites across the state. Usually the vegetation goes off, but they try to have a net zero in terms of, there isn't really a need to do much grading.
Right.
There is a
It's
little
flat.
bit of road prep to make sure that it's passable,
Yeah.
for the construction vehicles, but that's kind of about it.
Okay.
But I'll make a note and make sure that that information gets passed back.
Okay. Anything else from the board? Okay, I have a procedural issue here we really can't proceed with the rest of the public hearing until we do the A&R. Because,
So we have filed it, but we haven't recorded it yet because I think the town needs to sign it.
Oh, absolutely.
yeah.
If I may,
So what I'm gonna suggest is that we continue the public hearing to, until after we do the A&R and then reopen the public hearing
This evening.
this evening. Yeah.
Right.
So moved.
Do I have a second? All those
your,
in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so now we're taking up the A&R for Eversource at 175 Denslow Road, and what this is, they have two lots that they want to put together, and we have to endorse because it's not requiring approval.
right.
But our director has a question.
Yeah, the problem that I have is, are your paper copies are not the same as your Mylars. Here's your Mylar, this is your paper copy. See what I'm saying? So there's one Mylar, it matches this one, but there's no paper copies to match the main one. So I don't know,
Here's Eversource right here.
that's the plan, that's not the
Okay.
paper.
That's the site plan,
They should,
You see what I'm saying?
yeah, they should be the same.
The
There was,
paper ones are match this one, but that's all I have.
so the Mylars, there should be, you have two of them. And there's two of each, and all it is that at the scale that we had to draw this, there's a
Right.
match line. So this is just continued on this sheet to
But
pick
your
up.
paper copy doesn't, your paper copies are all the same. You
I-
see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I brought paper copies, and I'm pretty sure that it's, maybe it's just done the way that they were printed.
Yeah, I just need one that shows
Sure.
the first one. 2 copies should be enough. All right, see, I don't have that one in the paper copy. I have this one, I have 4 copies of this
Okay.
one.
So I'll see that you get them, because I know that when we sent you these paper copies, our surveyor signed and dated them, and then you said we needed them on Mylar, so
Right.
he printed them and signed and dated them another day.
But he never gave me, even on the paper copies, the other ones, you see, they're all the same. See what I'm saying? I don't
Yeah.
have that.
Well, you do now. I'll give you this one, Robin.
Yeah, because they have to sign them
Okay,
as well.
sure. And I would have assumed they'll sign the Mylars, though, and then we can have copies made of that before we go to file it with the Registry of Deeds. We'll scan it and print paper copies.
All right, that'll be good, but
Okay.
I need 3 paper copies with
Sure.
their signatures on it. Okay, then you
sure.
can take it.
Yeah, and I'll take care of that.
All right. Okay, thank you.
Tell us what you want to put together in terms of lots.
Here's 2 copies of this. Just don't get cut. That's 2 separate ones. I mean, that goes together, you have to match them up.
Okay,
Right.
so this matches to that.
Oh, okay, continuation
Yeah.
here?
Yeah, it's just a continuation, but there are these lots, 1070 and 1060. These combined, one is, I think, 37 acres and one is 10.
Can you show us on the paper plan there so we can
Sure.
see?
Sure.
We can see exactly what we're talking about.
So again, there's a match line, and there's a continuation to pick up what's drawn just from here.
Where's the property line now?
So there just happens to be a parcel line that bisects
Okay.
the overall outside that you see here.
Okay,
It's this heavy dark line with the directions and distances.
right.
That's the combined parcel, and it consisted of this one that was 10
Right.
acres and this one that was
So we're
47.
taking out that vertical.
Taking out this so that it's all one contiguous parcel.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. And we have frontage, so there's no reason not to endorse it. Do I have a
I make a
motion
motion.
to endorse?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so we got the A&R done.
Thank you.
Now we can reopen the public hearing. And
So you'll come in and sign them when he makes the copies?
Yeah,
George, you'll come in and...
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to be in tomorrow to see Tom Florence at 11. Is that a good time to stop by?
Should be.
Okay, we were at the point where we brought it back to the board having had a few minutes to think, are there any other questions or comments on this?
I do not have any.
Hearing none, do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved?
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any further discussion? To me, it looks like a really good project. It's a good use for that property. It'll stop the dumping and other things that have gone on there over the years. And will have, I think, a positive impact on the town, both from a tax standpoint, getting electricity generated locally, and it will not have any negative impacts, so.
I agree entirely. It's a great location for it, too.
Great, thank you.
Other comments? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the site plan?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so you're good to go.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks, Robin. I'll get in touch with you.
Yes.
We'll take care of that.
Okay, we can do it tomorrow. I'll let you
Yeah,
know.
I did all the reading.
Perfect.
Thanks.
Okay.
And by the way, even though he said it was $10 million of construction value, there's obviously more value in the income, which we never got mentioned here for tax reasons, I'm sure.
Yeah.
This has turned something that has no tax value now into something that's
Correct.
going to generate revenue for the town, which is good.
Just want to make sure we get it all.
We will
Okay,
with Diane at the helm.
next order of
Leg is
business,
driving me crazy.
we have a 6:45
Leg
public
is driving me nuts.
hearing on a site plan review for Secure Energy Realty LLC at 515 Shaker Road.
I will recluse myself.
Okay, and we do have a quorum, even with Deb recusing herself. And so, you want to read the?
Yeah, I'm
Yep.
just trying to make
Legal.
sure I'm not messing
Sure.
everything up there. Okay. Is this 5:15? We've got so much stuff here.
5:15.
Yes. Okay, you're good. I'm sorry. I know, there's a lot of stuff here.
All right, the Planning Board of Town of East Long Meadow will hold a public hearing on July 18th, 2017 at 6:45 in the Toon School Committee Conference Room at the high school, 180 Maple Street, East Long Meadow, Mass. On application for a site plan review submitted by Secure Realty LLC. The project consists of construction of a paved parking lot and improve the stormwater management system at 515 Shaker Road. Information related to this application is on file with the Planning Board and available for review by the public. I have a letter here from Bob Parent, DPW Department. Scope of this project from the DPW review standpoint is limited to configuration and repaving of portions of the existing parking lot and upgrade of the stormwater management system to meet current standards. Therefore, our comments are limited to the following. No snow storage shall be allowed in the stormwater bioretention area. In the event that the stormwater bioretention area does not drain in less than 12 hours as estimated by the stormwater drainage report, the planning board should reserve the right to require modification to the design to achieve this expected performance, such as cleaning and reestablishing the infiltration surface, adjustment of the basin grades, or addition of the subsurface drainage piping. The long-term stormwater operation and maintenance plan should be signed by the owner applicant and provided to the planning board. Is that it? Okay, here we go. This is that one. Paul Morissette, Fire Chief. Robin, the fire department is okay with the proposed site change to 515 Shaker Road. Please advise that the owner, contractor, or developer that any changes to the interior must be permitted as required by the building code and fire code. Okay. This is from Officer Strodom, Stuart Strodom. This report reviews the proposed improvements to the parking lot and stormwater management system at 515 Shaker Road, East Street in East Long Meadow. A review of the submitted plans was conducted, and I have resulted in the following recommendations. Number one, it is recommended that tall shrubs on Shaker Road be trimmed to improve the visibility for vehicles exiting the site. No further safety-related issues are present in these plans. Number two, lighting and building security are recommended for safe operation to protect both staff and visitors. If you have any questions, direct them to his attention.
So,
Tell us what you're planning on doing.
Okay, well, for the record, my name is Philippe Cravo of Islandbeck Associates, here for the site plan review application for the proposed site improvements at 515 Shaker Road. Currently, there's an existing building on the parcel. There's an existing parking lot, an existing truck turnaround driveway that leads to a loading dock behind the building over on the far side. The proposed site improvements are mainly for the existing building was a former manufacturing facility and it's being converted to an office use. So they need more parking to meet the zoning.
Which building is it?
Directly across from Halen Estates Biotech.
Near the
Bio
infield line.
Tech?
Yeah, it's got this little.
Yeah, okay.
It's a very
This side has
large.
a tall,
Yeah.
like silo-looking
Yeah.
side to the building.
Yep.
Just a big picture overview, we were in front of the Conservation Commission last week and did receive an order of conditions approval from them. We've also addressed the one comment that needed addressing from Mr. Parent with the signed long-term operation maintenance plan. So generally speaking, there's current parking in this area. That area will be maintained and also utilized for parking. The existing truck access drive will be demolished and a new parking lot will be constructed directly behind the building. So from Shaker Road, you're driving by the building, you won't see most of the parking lot there. There is an existing tree line on the property that's not being touched. We're mainly working within the existing developed area on the parcel. As far as stormwater is concerned, the existing front parking area and most of the truck access drive just sheet flow off into the wetlands, into the adjacent wetlands, untreated and unmitigated. As part of the proposed site improvements, we are going to install some curb as well as some minor regrading to direct this runoff to a vegetative filter strip, which leads to a fire retention area, which will provide water quality treatment, groundwater recharge, also some attenuation before it discharges off into the wetlands. The existing loading dock, like I said, is being, for the proposed use, they don't need the 4-foot loading dock, so they're going to fill that area in and just create, extend the parking lot over into that area. There are 2 catch basins down that lower area. Those 2 catch basins are piped directly to the wetlands, actually. They're just straight PVC pipes over to the wetlands. Those will be demolished and removed, and also that area will be graded towards the bioretention area. Other than that, it's a pretty straightforward project. There's an existing curb cut onto Shaker Road. That curb cut will be maintained. We are requesting a waiver from the same section as the previous applicant, 7.431, just for, Shaker Road is a pretty main road. There's adequate sight distance in both directions. It's an open and accessible entry, so we're not anticipating a lot of queuing on Shaker Road. People will be able to get in and out of the site freely. There was tractor trailers, navigating onto the site. Those are no longer gonna be here. It's just an extended office space use. And that's about it. Like I said, no trees are coming down. We're actually gonna vegetate most of this riverfront area. That was a big concern with the Conservation Commission, was reestablishing that riverfront area, pulling everything farther away from the wetlands, and everything is directly adjacent to the existing building. If there's any questions.
I do have a couple.
Sure.
So, was that property ever part of Deer Park?
No.
Okay. And so the actual building, is that going to be utilized for anything?
The existing building?
Yeah.
Yes, the existing building, the exterior is gonna remain. They're doing, it's all interior improvements.
Okay, and what is gonna go in there?
Office use.
Do you remember right behind the bank, right before the Rotary, the business
Oh, yeah.
that burned down?
Yeah.
That's the same business.
Okay,
They were
yeah.
just growing and they needed more office
Okay.
space.
So, I know I'm getting a little older, so I wanna make sure I remember this. So, it's only for a set period of time each year, correct?
What is that?
Maybe I'm mistaken.
You're on the wrong project.
Wrong project.
Oh, okay.
This is gonna be a permanent office building.
Okay, that's fine. Okay.
You're on NG.
I am in G, okay,
Yes.
all right, I'm all set.
We have a lot.
Tied.
Yeah, I saw.
No, I-
I'll be in
Good
charge.
thing I asked.
Good.
Okay.
Detention basin is where again?
It's actually a bioretention area.
Yeah.
And it's this dash line area out back here.
So salt and things like that are not gonna be going into the wetland area?
Correct, so right now, I mean, this parking lot just grades right off
Mhm.
into the wetlands.
And you're gonna capture all that with the curbing you just talked about?
Yes, curbing.
You're gonna direct it down into there?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct it down into, get treated by a vegetative filter strip treatment and recharge through the bioretention area. And there's an overflow that would discharge, larger storm events down towards the wetlands.
And we have adequate parking for the square footage?
Absolutely.
Okay. Just have to
More
ask-
now than we've ever had.
Have to ask that question.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, any other questions from the board?
No, thanks for refocusing.
That's okay.
Thank
Do I have any
That's all
questions,
right.
open up to the public at this point? Do I have any questions? Comments? Hearing none? Yeah, Mr. Page.
I'm surprised he's got a comment.
I'd just like to say, actually, bioretention, I think, is a fantastic idea. Being a landscaper, we've done a lot of work with bioretention. It's something coming to the future, especially for wetlands, trapping it before it goes into the wetlands. Love the plan. I think you've done a wonderful job. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
What is bioretention?
Can you identify yourself? please?
Phil Rosa, what is bioretention?
So it's just a different form of stormwater management. Traditionally, we call them dinosaurs now at DTP. It's the old-fashioned catch basin, underground conveyance, underground piping to a big pond, which overflows at given storm events over to.
So it's all natural? It's
This one
natural.
is more vegetated, it's lower profile, more vegetated, different soil media. It's just a more aesthetically pleasing and natural stormwater feature.
Okay. Anybody else? Bring it back to the board. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Have a second.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Do I have a motion to waive the traffic study?
So moved.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any further discussion on the site plan?
I'm good.
Okay. Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the site plan?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, you're good to go. It's great to see that building getting used.
Heavy lifting.
I know, thank you.
And, Brian, I think we can still do this. Need to go back and waive the traffic study for the solar farm. Do I have a motion to waive the traffic study for the solar farm?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so that's officially waived. And we're at 7, you okay, Robin?
I'm fine,
I got
thank
one.
you.
We're at 7:23, and our next item of business is a continuation of the public hearing for a revision to the special permit for Pride Convenience at 618 North Main Street. And you need to get the applicant in here.
Okay, this is what needs to be read. Jeff's, you don't need to do all these, knowing that, yeah, the second page you do. Not all these, all right. And then this is a letter from one of the abutters,
That
a
one?
different letter. No.
Okay.
He just brought it in for me.
I would like to advise the applicant that we only have 4 board members here tonight. And therefore, if we close the public hearing and vote on this, it will have to be unanimous. So it's up to you, if you want to ask for continuation so that we have a full board and you don't need a unanimous approval, that's up to you. And the other thing is, if we are going to continue it, I'd rather not read in a whole lot of new information, because then our missing member is going to have to read up on all that and watch the tape in order to be able to participate and vote. So it's up to you to, how do you want to proceed?
Give us 1 second.
Sure.
Just for the record, the town of East Long Meadows adopted the Mullen Rule, so if we were to have a hearing, it gets continued, then Mr. Mordito could technically review the minutes.
Yes, he could.
It's not favorable, I understand, but it's not
technically.
impossible or
He
impossible.
will review the minutes, he will watch the tape of this part of the meeting. So if you want us to continue and read stuff in and take more testimony, we can do that. Or we can just continue it and do that at the next meeting. It's up to you.
Would be inclined to ask for continuance, please.
Okay.
All right, we can do it August 15th at 7 o'clock.
August 15th at 7 o'clock?
That'll be fine.
Do I have a motion to continue this hearing to August, this one and the next one, I assume, as well?
Please.
Correct, yeah.
To August 15th at 7 o'clock and at 7:15. So moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? All those in favor? Aye.
Who made that motion?
What?
Russ made the motion, I seconded it.
Okay.
Deb?
I apologize for this, but I have no control over who shows up.
We had, it's happened before, we had to stay.
Yeah.
And I had no idea, or I would have called you ahead of time, but I was just as surprised as everybody else.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Our next next one is 7:45.
Oh, he is
Some of the
in-house.
other stuff done.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to grab that out of your hand.
That's all right, I just need to put this back.
We had to wait till 7:45 for that one.
Oh, yeah. All
Oh,
right,
so
well,
let's
you've
do
got
some,
plenty
we
of-
got plenty of things to keep us busy.
There we go.
How about 286 Allen Street?
Hang on one
I
second.
think that's a good idea.
What, this goes with this, this goes with this, this goes with this. Okay, which one is it? You threw them on the floor.
286 Allen Street.
Or like, no room.
I was gonna say, where did they go? Here we go.
Drive me crazy.
You sure you don't wanna come
Nah,
over
it's
here?
even worse. Well, no, I mean, being next to you is nice, but I'm saying that it is what it is.
Yes.
Request for waiver of site plan review, property owner is Town of East Long Meadow, DPW, 60 Center Square, East Long Meadow, Mass. Phone numbers are listed here. Name of proposed business is Allen Street Pump Station. Owner of business is Town of East Long Meadow. Business owner's address is DPW, 60 Center Square, East Long Meadow, Mass. Property address is 286 Allen Street. Property district is RA. Allowed use is yes. Number of employees, including the owner, is 2, maximum part-time. Date of last parking plan is non-applicable. Summary of the business operation. An existing wastewater pump station is located on the site. Pump station will not be modified, however, a natural gas fired emergency generator will be installed on a concrete pad inside a fence enclosure along the east property line. The enclosure will be approximately 12 feet by 15 feet and will be installed a minimum of 5 feet off the property line. Number of commercial vehicles is 1 to 2. The application's been signed and dated June 8th, 2017.
And what it is it's a pad, a new pad for the generator.
Okay. And this is located, so we all know where this is. This is on Allen Street, at the corner of, what's the intersection street, Robin, do you know?
I'm sorry,
What is that
What's the intersection street here?
I need to.
Trying to remember. Anyway, it's on Allen Street, it's existing, they're basically making some improvements to it.
I'm sorry, that far up, I'm not familiar
Okay.
with it.
Any discussion? Do I have a motion to approve the waiver of site plan review for DPW?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Go ahead, Dick. Oh, I'll second it. I'm going back to protocol. Yep, I seconded it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, let's skip Go Graphics for the moment and go on to 200 North Main Street.
Request for waiver of site plan review. Property owner is Pacific Avenue Properties LLC. Owner's address is 1260 Sumner Avenue, Springfield, Mass. Phone numbers are listed here. Name of proposed business is Educating Youth Services. Owner of business is Simone Phillips. Business owner's address is 87 Sunapee Street, Springfield, Mass. Property address is 200 North Main Street, Suite 3. Property district is business. Allowed use is yes. Proposed hours of operation are 2 to 8, Monday through Friday. Number of employees, including the owner, is 1. Data as parking plan is not applicable. Summary of business operation is educational and consulting services, ages 5 to adult. The application has been signed and dated June 26, 2017.
And this is in that office park at 200 North Main Street, allowed use in an office park. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second? Somebody?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, Deb.
You're welcome, Todd.
And we got a few more minutes. 12 Colony Drive.
Request for waiver of site plan review. Property owner is Donald Mackey. Owner's address is 12 Colonial Drive. Phone numbers are listed here. Name of proposed business is Redstone Marketing Design. Owner of business is Joseph Rosa. Business owner's address is 12 Colony Drive. Property address 12 Colony Drive. Property district is residential A. Proposed hours of operation are Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. Number of employees, including the owner, is 1. Data last parking plan is not applicable. Summary of business operation is graphic design and marketing strategy. All operations will be conducted via email or off-site meetings. The application has been signed and dated June 26, 2017.
This is the home office. And the owner is the resident, he's renting the property from Mr. Mackey. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the waiver?
So moved.
I'll have a second.
No, he lives there.
He
He's
lives
not-
there?
Yeah, he's not renting it, he lives there.
Yeah.
He's a relative, he lives there.
Oh, relative, okay, got it.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
I'm gonna close my windows.
I'm glad I shut my.
We have a request for temporary signage and temporary signage from Melissa Clark.
Town of East Long Meadow sign permit application, is that where we're at?
There are 2 of them, that's the temporary, this is the.
Business name and address is Airline Drug Inc., DBA, Lewis and Clark Medical Supply, 436 North Main Street, East Long Meadow. Business owner's name and address is Skip Matthews, 23 Fernwood Drive, Wilbraham. Property owner's name and address is Heritage LMZL LLC, in care of Winslow Property Management LLC, 80 Hayden Avenue, Lexington, Mass. Contact person and telephone number is Diane Cordio. Phone number is listed here. Square footage of proposed sign is 30. Is not a freestanding sign. It is attached to the building. It is a temporary sign. It is not illuminated. Number of existing signs is 0. Number of proposed sign is 1. The average price is $100, and this is what it's going to look like.
Okay. You see that?
Where the old Froyo was,
Yeah.
right?
So this is a temporary sign. Good. Okay. I have a motion to approve the temporary sign. For how long?
Yeah.
The time is not listed on the application.
Did you say 60 days?
I think that would be ample for them to get in there.
I think so too.
Yep.
So I have a motion to approve the temporary sign for 60 days.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Town of East Long Meadow sign permit application dated July 10th, 2017. Business name and address is Airline Drug Inc., DBA Lewis and Clark Medical Supply. Business owner's name and address is Skip Matthews, 23 Fernwood Drive, Wilbraham, Mass. Property owner's name and address is Heritage MLZL LLC, in care of Winslow Property Management LLC, 80 Hayden Avenue, Lexington, Mass. Contact person, telephone number is Diane Cordio. Phone number is listed here. Square footage of proposed sign is 35. It is not a freestanding sign. It is attached to the building. It is permanent. It will be illuminated. Total number of existing signs is 0. Number of proposed signs is 1. Total square footage of proposed signs is 35 square feet. The estimated cost is $6,000, and the sign application has been signed.
Okay, so it fits in the existing footprint. Yep. That's the important thing. Okay. Any questions? Do I have a motion to approve permanent sign?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thanks, Robin.
And we have a
For the farmer's market.
farmer's market.
East Long Meadow, request for waiver of site plan review. Property owner is the Reserve at East Long Meadow. Owner's address is 741 Parker Street, East Long Meadow. Phone numbers are listed here. Name of proposed business is Farmers Market. Owner of business is Diane Rowlands. Business owner's address is 146 Thresher Road, Hamden, Mass. Property address is 741 Parker Street, East Long Meadow. Property district is A. Proposed hours of operation are July 25th, 1 to 4. Number of employees including owner is 10, and they're vendors. Date of last parking plan is no change. Summary of business, wants to host a farmer's market for our residents and their family friends. The application is signed and dated July 14, 2017.
If I could interject, would you say,
Please.
if you're going to approve it conditioned upon that they get their health permits from the health department?
Okay, so this is a one-off event for their residents. This is not going to be open up to the general public?
No, I think it will.
In their application, they said for their residents?
Residents and their families and friends, so
Okay,
that's
a
public.
general public, okay. This is the memory impaired place on Parker Street. It is a residential zone, but I don't see any problem with a one-off event like this. Do I have a motion to approve the waiver?
Can I ask one question?
Conditioned on the health permits.
Now, for the health permits, they said there'd be 10 vendors there, is that correct?
Yes.
So will each individual vendor need to get their own health permit,
Yes,
or will it
as
be global?
well, no, as well as
Okay.
a farmer's market permit.
Understood, okay.
And the health director is aware of it.
Okay.
So I make a motion to approve based on the health department regulations and permits necessary.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Perfect.
Okay. We have an A&R for NG Advantage,
Yeah, but that's part of your 745.
but, well, yes and no. The A&R is not part of it, it's separate from it.
But they want to continue the whole thing. They were kind of like the other one, that the
Okay.
A&R went
Can we
along with.
continue the A&R and not run out of time
Because it's their request.
at their request? Okay. So that brings us back to Go Graphics at 31 Benton Drive. What do we have for that?
Okay, property owner is Whitestone Property Management LLC. Owner's address is 31 Benton Drive, East Long Meadow, Mass. Phone numbers are listed here. Name of proposed business is Go Graphics. Owner of business is James White and Gary Stone. Business owner's address is 33 Crestview Drive, East Long Meadow, and 26 Overbrook Drive, East Long Meadow. Property address is 31 Benton Drive, East Long Meadow. Property district is Industrial Garden Park. It's allowed use. Proposed hours of operation are 8 to 5:30, Monday through Friday. Number of employees, including the owner, are 15. Date of last parking plan was November 2016. Summary of business operation, regarding side lot adjacent to McGill Ho's temporary staging area for Baltar's Contracting. Total number of commercial vehicles is 4. The application has been signed and dated June 23rd, 2017.
And there's nobody here from Whitestone.
I don't see them.
We denied this the last time they came in, okay, on the basis that storing construction equipment in the industrial garden park is not an allowed use per se. they have now, at that point, they did not have any fencing. They have now erected a fence around the property, around, at least to screen the area. However, they have not, they still are tracking dirt into the street. They don't have a good tracking map there. We discussed this last time, and we agreed at that point that it was not an allowed use. I don't see any additional information that they're providing us to change my mind on that, but I leave it to the board to decide. I suggest that we, someone make a motion to approve, and then we vote either yes to approve or no to not approve.
Before we do that, could I just chime in on one thing?
Sure.
And also make reference to the letter that Bob Parent wrote on behalf of the DPW crews having to clean up the dirt prior, and we haven't seen any improvement in that to date.
Okay.
What are the construction vehicles there to do?
What they're doing is they're storing equipment and materials for the work that's being done on,
Converse.
sorry? Converse Street in Long Meadow.
Oh, so they're kind of renting their property out?
Yeah, they're renting
Yes,
their property out.
that's exactly what they're doing.
And basically, they've got fire hydrants piled up there, they've got dirt, they've got gravel, they've, you know,
Insufficient fencing.
all kinds of little stuff.
So I would like to make a motion to approve.
I have a second. Somebody?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? All those opposed?
Nay.
Okay, so we deny it again.
Okay.
And if Mr. White calls me up again, we remind him that he could have showed up at the meeting and given us additional information. Okay, we've got everything except we've got, wait, 3 more minutes before we can take up NG.
Can't even read this beforehand, huh?
No,
Yeah,
that's
no.
not the one you're
That's not
reading.
the one you're reading.
Which one is this one?
That's the other one.
Oh, yeah, we've already been in this one.
Yeah.
That's nice.
This
Yeah,
is just.
You guys are the ones who move and second.
Okay.
Robin
Right,
does a
time to
really
hold
good job of making sure we don't get stuff mostly for us that doesn't meet
Without a
requirements.
sign permit or something of that nature. Or a home office site plan review, right?
If somebody insists on filing something, that's a different story. But
Yeah.
you can't tell somebody not to file.
Nope, I've tried. Tried to
So
convince
being that we have that
I've tried to
next-
convince them, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Next, our next meeting, which would be August 15th.
Yeah.
That'll be 7, maybe, not
Yes.
stack that, so have
Yes.
if we have the option.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
I understand some do
We're
not
not
have.
meeting on the 1st because it's National
Right, I
Night Out.
understand. We gotta make sure that these things, remember we talked about having the applications typed so we can read them? We just got.
Recommendation.
Donna's
of
got it.
it.
Recommended it.
Is that what it was, a recommendation? Only one of them was typed, I think.
I know, but you did awesome.
Well.
And I would like to
the
remind
original was
people
better.
that we will not be meeting on August 1st. Next meeting will be August 15th, because August 1st is National Night Out here on the playing fields and Big Camino parking. So, among other things.
Yes.
We're waiting for the
My
storm to
watch.
blow over
Yeah,
anyway.
my watch, what does your watch say?
I gotta go by this because this is gonna be more
Me too.
accurate than my
I got
watch.
7:40.
7:43.
We got 2
So we have
minutes.
2 minutes.
2 minutes, yeah. You gotta be legal. In
Yes,
case
we
somebody
do.
walks in at 7:45, says,
Absolutely.
why did you keep me out of the meeting? One more.
I hope it stops raining before I have to pack this stuff.
Did you bring an umbrella?
No, but I.
You did not. I didn't realize this was gonna happen.
I didn't think, I thought it was over, but I
Yeah.
wrapped everything in plastic.
In your,
so
what I
you
can't
can
call
Can
it?
you leave stuff here
On record.
until tomorrow and come back and get it?
It's gonna be over.
I have plastic stuff. I don't
Okay.
care if I get wet, I just don't want this stuff in it. But I have plastic for both of them.
Okay.
There's a blue sky in Ag 1.
Oh, there you go. 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Let's reconvene in Ag 1. Motion to adjourn and reconvene.
Did you rip that up and throw it on the floor?
I brought that in with me.
You're bad.
Well, there's just so much stuff here, I get
Throwing
confused with
everything
everything
on
that's
the
going on.
floor. It's like, holy cow.
I know, you'd think I was home.
I know, you do that at home, I don't think so. I've met you.
Okay, I have 7:45, so we'll open the public hearing, site plan review for NG Advantage on Deer Park Drive.
Letter dated,
Legal notice first.
You wanna do that?
Yeah, we need to open it and then continue it.
I don't think I brought that. No, I didn't, because they just wanted to continue it. You don't have to open it.
Yes, we do. We have to open it in order to continue it.
Well, I don't have it.
Those are the rules of order.
Yeah.
Open and continue.
Okay, so we're having we're opening a public hearing
Yeah.
on an application from NG Advantage to install a natural gas transfer station at the end of Deer Park Drive.
okay, letter dated July 18th, 2017 from NG Advantage LLC, addressed to George Kingston, Chairman of the Planning Board. Dear Mr. Chairman, NG Advantage LLC, the applicant respectfully requests that the public hearing for the site plan review of NG Advantage's project on Deer Park Drive, scheduled for this evening, be opened and immediately continued to August 15th, 2017 at 6:15. This will allow NG Advantage to gather additional information, solicit additional comments regarding the proposed project, and incorporate these into the project plans as necessary for presentation to the planning board as part of the continued public hearing. Thank you sincerely, Jerry Myers, Chief Operating Officer.
Okay, does anyone from NG want to say anything more?
No.
Do I have a motion to continue to 6:15 on August 15th?
So moved. Oh, excuse me.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it, but I hope there's discussion.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Oh, yeah, we're just continuing
Yeah.
until we can have
Yeah.
further discussion.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, all we're doing is continue it.
Yep.
Once we continue it, we don't talk about it anymore until the next meeting.
Well, I don't want to do.
We don't have enough information to talk about it, because they're asking us to continue it.
Well, I thought what you said, or what he asked, so that they can get further information to be able to present it to the board.
Right.
So do they want our information and our questions to be able to incorporate it
No,
into
they
their
don't.
presentation?
They don't. They're asking for a
Okay.
immediate, which is good, because we've only got 4 of us here, and this
Okay.
way Lou will be
That's
able to
fine.
sit through the whole thing.
Okay.
If you have questions for them, I would relay them through our director,
Okay.
and let her relay any specific questions you might have, so that they can come back with prepared answers for our questions. But at this point,
I will.
Okay.
I'm sure.
So we have a moved and seconded to continue the hearing to August 15th at 6:15. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Is there any other business before the board?
That's it.
Hearing none, I will adjourn the meeting. And Robin, I'll ask you to contact our other member and find out
I certainly will.
what happened.
We need a motion to close.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.